Okay, so hello. I just made my Sega Xbox video. You should watch it if you haven't seen it yet, but I'm sure you have at this point. And after uploading the video, a few hours later, I come to start to realize I came up with an idea. Now, let's backtrack a bit. So, you watch the video, so I don't need to explain too much about how Xbox right now is not doing too well in terms of, hardware sales. I think they're doing fine in other regards, but in terms of hardware sales and, console exclusives, they've really dropped the ball. So, I think a lot of rumors are starting to come out that Microsoft is going to basically be a third-party developer and basically develop games for just PlayStation and PC and Switch, I guess. And I said like Sega, where basically how Sega at the end of the Dreamcast in 2001 became a third-party developer only, and I said that was a probable option for Microsoft. I don't know if I can't remember exactly how much I talked about cloud gaming. I think I did bring it up, but yeah, I think the cloud gaming thing is going to stick around. Now, the thing about the Xbox Cloud Gaming is it runs off Xbox software, so I'm not exactly sure how that would work if there's no Xbox around, but that's beside the point. So no matter what, I think Game Pass, whether it's on PlayStation or not, it'll still definitely be on PC, regardless of whether or not Microsoft still makes consoles after this generation. Um, you know, I'm sure the cloud gaming will exist whether it's on whether they switched to it being Windows based or it being still based on Xbox, and maybe they just keep the Xbox operating system open just so for that one purpose. And I started to think I think they had that cloud gaming console that they canceled for some reason. I don't know why they canceled that. In my opinion, canceling that to me was kind of stupid. Unless they, I don't know. I felt like that was probably a pretty good shot. It probably wouldn't have cost them much to make. So I don't know why they canceled that project. I feel like they could have had a small console there. So that being said, I did kind of have a few ideas, or at least one major idea, that if Microsoft maybe doesn't continue making Xboxes, but could continue still some kind of making gaming specific hardware, kind of. And I'm just curious about this. This is the reason this is a second channel video and not a main channel video, because I didn't do any work of this. It's just an idea that popped in my mind. So Microsoft, that's great. Microsoft obviously makes Windows. That's their. I don't know if it's their main business anymore. I think cloud computing is their main business, but obviously Windows is a big part of their business. And so if they don't make consoles and they still have games on Windows through the Xbox app that they take 100% commission of, I guess it works for them. But the PC, appeal doesn't have broad appeal as consoles do to the average person. So what if we had this like sort of middle ground between a Xbox console and a PC? Well, what if we had like Microsoft or even third party, develop or third party manufacturers like Asus, MSI, HP, Dell, Alienware, whatever. These third party console manufacturers or third party PC manufacturers, what if they made Xbox consoles with PC parts? And hear me out. So the Xbox itself is x86 based. So is the PS5. It's not ARM based. I can't remember if the Switch is ARM based or not. I think it is. But basically, for those who don't know, this is not a technical video, but I'll explain it. Basically, x86, x64 is what x86 x64 is basically the architecture of pretty much all Windows PCs. They're starting to do Windows for ARM. But for the most part, Windows for ARM kind of is a pretty new thing, and it's not there for gaming yet. So Xbox basically is already basically a Windows computer that's just a specific type of Windows computer that has some optimizations for it. So instead, what if, instead of having Microsoft make the hardware, what if they had third-party manufacturers make Xboxes with PC parts? And what caught my attention, made me think about this was I bought an ROG Ally recently, and I bought it used because I didn't think I was going to really enjoy it enough. And after about a day of having it, I actually liked it, but I bought it used, and I got a good discount, and something was kind of not working with it, and it was still under warranty, so I figured almost immediately I should just get that fixed so I don't have to worry about it. So we'll use this PlayStation Portal as a placement here. I do like this device quite well too. I'll probably make a video on it on this channel as well, talking about it, because I don't think it's really worthy of a main channel video. So what if... So the reason I sort of got that idea is Asus, along with MSI and Lenovo, and I'm sure others will follow one day soon. Although, if you want to ask, basically Asus and Lenovo are the only ones, and in my opinion, I think the Legion Go, I don't like it. There's two reasons I don't like it. One is I just don't like Lenovo. Every Lenovo product I've ever had has just sucked. My Lenovo laptop is, like, one I currently have right now is okay, but it won't, they restrict what kind of RAM you can use for it for some reason. Like, I almost like prefer they solder on the RAM than have like a specific slot of RAM. It's like, it's BS. I hate it. So anyway, and they do a bunch of other stuff. Their stuff's made like crap, and they have these very things. So on top of that, so it being Lenovo, I don't like the Legion Go, and also I just think it's too big and it's too complicated. The only thing I really like about it is it has a trackpad like the Steam Deck does. But yeah, if it's an Asus, if it's an ROG Ally or a Legion Go, I'll pick the ROG Ally. But those PC, those portable PCs that play games sort of got me thinking, well, if I would say that is the closest console experience you can get on Windows. They tend to have these like application overlays that are sort of like Steam Big Picture mode, where it sort of like consoleizes the interface, so it's easy to use with a controller. And I'm just thinking, what if they just took maybe the Xbox interface and made it so that these PCs can only boot into this console OS that's basically a modified version of Windows. Or maybe they can boot into, or maybe you can dual boot them. But I think, and I've heard they're developing a version for the handhelds as well. I think they shouldn't boot into regular Windows. I think you should be able to maybe yourself install Windows on them and partition the drive and whatnot. But at the same time, if you're going to go that route, you may as well just build a PC or buy a PC. So I guess, but I think, having the option would be there. But by default, I think they should only come with basically the Xbox console OS or some version of it. And, this way, Microsoft still has, these ways they can give out, cheaper machines than building a PC. And I think if they can, have this really stripped down version of Windows, is basically just the Xbox OS, but running on PC hardware, I think they can optimize it a lot more. And I see a few ways they could do this. Like maybe restrict what parts go into the PCs. Maybe they, so that way they can, more optimize it for the specific hardware. Maybe they only have specific processors and GPUs or APUs. Like maybe they could only be using the Z1 Extreme, for example. Although I think for a home machine that would kind of suck. But yeah, I think you know, it would be also a good idea to maybe have different tiers, because I do think that although they say the developers are struggling with the Xbox Series S, I do think that having a lower tier option is overall a good thing. And you know, maybe if they had like 3 tiers of the Xbox, like the manufacturer, like it would, there'd have to be standardized to an extent between manufacturers. But maybe they can have like a low tier, a mid tier, and a high tier for these like Xbox PCs. Like maybe the low tiers use this CPU and this GPU. Mid tiers and use this CPU and GPU and this amount of RAM and whatnot, and the, you know, high, etc. with the high tier. So I think maybe they can just like standardize it across manufacturers, and you know, they have to have this spec, and you know, maybe they can make it modular, or maybe they couldn't, and you know, they could compact it more and make it, you know, where it's upgraded every 5 years. But this way, Microsoft doesn't really brunt the cost of the console manufacturing. Then they don't brunt the development cost, but they still get that OS and that integration as well. And all they really have to do is develop a modified version of Windows, which I think for the handhelds, I've heard that they're going to make a version of Windows for gaming handhelds. So maybe just make this project a, you know, consoleized version of Windows that runs both on the handhelds and on the Xbox PCs is what I'll call them, the Xbox PCs. And, you know, this makes it so they're designed to be plugged into a TV or on a handheld, or maybe even make the handhelds, you know, very easy to plug into TVs, although they kind of are. But I feel like, you know, maybe Microsoft can learn a lesson from their Windows and bring that over into the Xbox side. If the hardware ain't selling, maybe they could bring that to, you know, they could just sort of absolve themselves. Because I do think, well, eventually, well, we just get a PC. And, you know, I have a gaming PC. But recently I've been playing more on consoles. And you see, I bought a PS Portal for it. Because sometimes I just want to sit down and play the game and have it work. PC stuff doesn't work all the time. There's more stuff you can do with the PC. And there's certain games I will only play on PC. Basically, any shooter I want to play with keyboard and mouse. But let's face it, most people aren't technical people. Most people just want to turn on the console and have it work. And I feel like, you know, Microsoft can still fill that niche with the handhelds that can plug into TVs, or, you know, just be handhelds, or dedicated PCs that basically are game consoles. They just run a game console OS on PC hardware. And then the manufacturers don't have to spend that much money because they're just buying, you know, normal PC parts. And then, you know, they can just limit it so that the developers can still optimize and you still get that console optimization. And, you know, there's some flexibility. They can have different tiers, as I said before. Microsoft still gets the Game Pass revenue and the store revenue because they're, you know, doing it. And there's more competition. So, and on top of this, I do think they should revisit that cloud streaming idea. I feel like cloud streaming is only going to get more far along. But, I don't know. I feel like they could, you know, sort of just do that. You know, not completely the console space, just give it up to the third-party manufacturers, because they want to make money off the games anyway. That's where they make most of the money. So, I mean, this sort of just eliminates their need to make the hardware at all. It just passes it on to the, you know, Asus, sort of the third-party PC manufacturers. And they already have a relationship with Microsoft anyway. So, I feel like with this handheld thing, can sort of be a good stepping point, you know, stepping stone for how I think the future of Xbox home consoles can go. I mean, they see, I obviously I think regular Windows gaming will always stick around, and I don't think Microsoft has a problem with that. They make the OS. So yeah, I do think that that's a possible idea for Microsoft to maybe go forward with. In actuality, I think it's a pretty good idea, truthfully. So, yeah, what do you guys think? Again, second channel video for a good reason. It was just sort of just a random thoughts. I think it could be a pretty good idea for Microsoft to do. Just let me know what you guys think. Make sure to go watch the main Xbox video. You probably should have watched that before this. But if you haven't, go watch the video on my main channel. It's a pretty good video. I quite like it. And yes, stay subscribed to this channel. I have some other video ideas I can probably just write off real quick in my head and just sort of go with that. So yeah, stick around. Donate to the charity in the description. Donate.jigsaw0565.com for Hurricane Milton relief. If you have any money, just spare some if you can. It's very well appreciated. And that's it. Yeah. So comment, like, subscribe. I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.